From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your MTN Statewide News this Wednesday. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, the state today announcing 23 additional deaths tied to COVID-19 across Montana. Those numbers just starting to catch up with MTN. We check in with Montana counties all throughout the day and had already reported several of those deaths yesterday. Today, our numbers total 17 additional deaths. Hill County with 4, Roosevelt County with 3, 2 in Powder River County, 2 more in Glacier, and 1 death in each Blaine, Daniels, Deer Lodge, Missoula, Sanders, and Yellowstone counties. Now, these additional 17 bring the statewide COVID-19 related death toll to 290 at this hour. Well, there's a bit of a bite in the air again today, and it sounds like we don't have a lot of relief in sight. Ed McIntosh standing by with the latest across the state. Ed.
Yeah, there's a lot of cold that's going to move in, Janelle, and it's going to stick around, breaking a lot of records. But the initial wave is coming in as rain and snow showers. You can see that on Doppler radar here through midday. And a lot of it already developing through north central Montana is causing some problems there, where we already have winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings that will be into effect. Now, this is by the time we start looking into tomorrow, we'll see that pretty widespread across the state. Here at this hour, we're seeing some of those winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories kicking in, some glaze on the roadways, heavier snow as we start looking into the Rocky Mountain front. We'll take a closer look at all the forecast details coming up.
All right, thanks, Ed. Well, health protection condition or HP con levels are benchmarks that Malmstrom Air Force Base and other military establishments use to classify the health risk to military personnel during a public health emergency. Well, as of yesterday, the current HP con level at Malmstrom near Great Falls is Bravo Plus. With a routine HEPCON level, the guidelines are similar to what advice you might see at the doctor's office. Wash your hands often, sneeze into a tissue, and avoid anyone who is sick. At Bravo, the term social distancing comes into play. Travel is limited to necessary movement only, and remote working is utilized wherever possible. Now, mandatory mask wearing and the use of telework are also in effect at the base. Well, Republican Congressman Gianforte added another $4 million of his own money into his campaign for governor, upping his personal total for the campaign to more than $7.5 million. Gianforte, who's running against Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mike Cooney, reported yesterday that he loaned his campaign the additional $4 million in the past month. He also reported raising $225,000 from donors. Gianforte has rounded up nearly $11 million for his campaign, almost $7.6 million from his own pocket, the rest from individual and PAC donors. Mike Cooney has basically matched Gianforte for the campaign when it comes to raising money from donors at $3.4 million. But Cooney has not spent any of his own money on the effort. Gianforte's campaign has also outspent Cooney about 3-1. Well, less than 2 weeks remain until Election Day. More than 200,000 Montanans have already voted by mail as of last night. Well, lawyers handling family separations at the American-Mexico border say they cannot find the parents of more than 500 children. The children are in U.S. custody, and some haven't seen their parents in more than 3 years. Here's the story from Fort Worth, Texas.
In the ACLU filing, lawyers say of the 1,030 separated migrant children, they still haven't been able to reach parents for 545 kids. And roughly 2/3 of those parents are believed to have been deported to their countries of origin. The children in question were separated before the Trump administration fully implemented its short-lived zero-tolerance policy.
I didn't like the sight or the feeling of families being separated.
It's been more than 2 years since President Trump ended that policy, which separated more than 2,800 children from their families at the southern border. A federal judge then required the administration to reunite children with their parents within 30 days, a deadline it did not meet.
Our advice on that wasn't sought out.
Scott Schuchart, a former Homeland Security official, told 60 Minutes in 2018 that one of the government's problems was tracking the families it separated. The ACLU filing offers more evidence of that claim, which was also confirmed by a November 2019 Inspector General report citing widespread errors in the government's methods.
people were removed to other countries without there being good records of what adult went with what child.
A report from the Health and Human Services Department shows that children that were separated from their families were showing higher levels of fear, abandonment, post-traumatic stress, and were more likely to consider self-harm or even suicide. We've spoken with a number of these parents and children that were involved in this situation, and they say that there are some big psychological impacts that will be lingering for a very long time. Jeanelle Slade, CBS News, Fort Worth, Texas.
Up next on your new news, there's good news about a major project 3 years in the making that's now providing a diverse ecosystem here in Montana. But first, meteorologist Ed McIntosh is in next with your statewide weather forecast. Don't go away.